is people need relief. When you have a state of emergency, you got to put a relief. You got to put an injunction on the crisis to give people a chance to fight back. And that's what the moratorium is. The moratorium isn't the ultimate solution, but the moratorium says to the tens of thousands of people that are losing their homes, we're going to fight and make sure you can stay in your homes and be part of getting up with that solution so we can stay in their homes for good. And that's why the moratorium, to me, is the most critical bill, the most critical issue, because it's almost too late now for Detroit. Right. But if we don't get this moratorium, what's going to be left of Detroit? I had a friend of mine who came in for a few days from Baltimore to help build this meeting. And she had to go to New Orleans right after Katrina. And she said, man, this looks just like New Orleans looks. That's how bad it is in Detroit right now. We are in a state of emergency. We need emergency relief. And the first relief is to stop these foreclosures, keep people in their homes, keep our communities intact while we find the long-term solution. Let me say just a brief thing about the history of this campaign. I raised the moratorium on foreclosures over a year and a half, almost a year and a half ago, to Governor Granholm. People remember when she had these town hall meetings when she ran around the state and talking about how things were so bad. Well, she had one in Southfield, and I was able to get into the meeting. Right. And at that meeting she asked, what would you do if you were governor? And I said, if I were governor, I would use my emergency powers under the law. And I told her what those statutes are. They're on the books. And I would declare a state of emergency in Michigan. And I would place a moratorium on foreclosures. And I let her know, and she knows it, that this had been done in the 30s and had been upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court. But unfortunately, Governor Granholm didn't have the will to do it. She wouldn't deal with reality. She could say, oh, things aren't that bad, things aren't that bad. Well, maybe they're not that bad for her, but they're bad for the people. And we kept fighting, though. We kept putting out the moratorium. And we went to the grassroots, and we went to court to get into the foreclosure fair after they threw us out. We went to federal court and sued Mike Cox, and we have a right to tell people about the moratorium. We went there. We picketed the state of the state. We went all over, building support. And then in last December, Reverend Ed Rowe, a wonderful reverend from Central Methodist Church, set up a meeting with Hanson Clark, and we talked about the bill. And Hanson Clark, I believe when he first saw it, he thought, well, gee, it made sense. Why wouldn't everybody go before it? But he went back to Lansing, and I know he caught a lot of hell. I know he did. And they researched that bill, and they would call and email us every day to check on it. Is it real? Can we do it? Is it legal? Is it constitutional? And then finally, he put in that bill. And I think he deserves a tremendous amount of credit. Yes. Because we know the pressure that these, and matter of fact, the first day he announced the bill, there was a press, the finance industry was all over the news denouncing the bill. Senator Clark has given us he's loaded the gun for us, but it's up to us to fire it.
That's right.
This bill ain't going to pass if we sit around and wait for it to be passed in Lansing. We all know it. We can't out-lobby, in the traditional sense, the bankers. They got all the money. We got the people, though. The people need this bill. They need it in every community. We're fighting for the survival of our state. We're fighting for the survival of our community. And I want to say to everybody here, it's nice to come to a meeting. In this meeting, we should have more people at this meeting. But people at this meeting, we got to be the core of an army of organizers that are ready to go out all over Michigan to spread the word about this bill, to go to every town, to go to every fair, to go to every church, to go to every union. We have Nathan Head here from the UAW. This needs to be raised in the UAW. To go everywhere, to say we need this moratorium, to build it. We are the organizers. If you go home and don't come to another meeting, it ain't going to pass. We don't have this coalition that doesn't have one penny to it. We can't even pay for this hall. But we're determined to make it happen. And we're going to make it happen if you join us. Everyone here has to become a warrior, a part of the army to fight, to defend our community, to stop the foreclosures. And if that happens, we're going to win because there's no other solution.
Yes!
Let me just end by saying, we set a goal, September 17th, to go to Lansing. And we want to go to Lansing with enough people, with thousands of people, people that are ready to go to Lansing and go in a new form of lobbying. The lobbying that says we're here till this bill passes, and we want to build that support, and we need to do the calls and everything in the meantime, but we got to mobilize the masses. That's what we got to do. We got to unleash the feeling that's in this state. And if we do that, we're going to win, and we're going to set an example for the rest of the country, because the rest of the country is quickly becoming just like Michigan. Let's win this moratorium. Join the struggle. We need you. It's up to us to make Senator Clark's bill a reality, and I know we can do it if every one of us gets involved to make it happen.
Thank you. Moratorium now. I want to thank Juanita Gaines from UAW, Mama Gaines. Thank you for allowing us to have it here. And one last thing for your state senator, Hanson H. Clark. Everyone, grab every piece of material on that back table. Grab every piece of material on the table, all the flyers.